Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, just making a video because we're getting some surprise early updates to the Forked Tower entry system. Now, they talked about these in the latest letter from the producer live, where they said these changes would be scheduled for patch 7.3. However, it looks like they're going to be making some changes to it beforehand. Like people telling me, oh, in a couple days we're getting an update. Girlfriend said the same thing. So let's read the post and see exactly what they are doing ahead of patch 7.3. Hello, this is Naoki Yoshida, producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV. First, I'd like to thank the community for their supportive comments following the recent letter from the producer live. Not all of them were supportive. Some of them. Not all of them. During the broadcast, they spoke about the additional systems we will be introducing in relation to the Fork Tower. We have since decided to implement a portion of these updates in advance during an emergency maintenance on all worlds. Please allow me to summarize the details and explain our reasoning behind this decision. Plan changes. So, the following changes will be part of the emergency maintenance. The ability to enter the Occult Crescent instance with a preformed alliance of up to 48 players and allowing Auroral Mirages, I don't know why the word Mirage got away from me, to generate sooner after the Occult Crescent instance is loaded. I don't even remember them saying the second part during the letter from the producer live, but the first part, very, very important. While the other side of it, having the easier version so that more players feel like they can engage with the content, is important, being able to coordinate things is a huge step up from BA, where yes, they're coordinated, yes, they're in a bigger instance, but you still always have that little bit of risk, and there's still that minor annoyance that can come with it. So this was my number one piece of feedback in regards to if they want to leave the system as a whole, but it does need to be supported by other things. So, intentions behind the changes. As stated during the producer live letter, the update required to improve Fork Tower experience would comprise of several key elements. The first one, they just went over. The second one, the one we just went over. The third one, improvements to the cipher offering UI. They said that it would tell you who had offered ciphers, and it was going to be required for every player who wanted to enter to at least put in one cipher. And delaying Auroral Mirage generation until after an active critical encounter had ended. So, that's another common thing where generally if you're doing critical engagements while waiting for Occult Crescent, it's kind of, it's able to self-sustain. I don't know how that's going to change with the Auroral Mirages generating sooner. I don't know if that means the cooldown between, like, let's say you go into the Fork Tower and you fail. Generally, you could get 2 or 3 attempts if they're relatively quick attempts within one instance, which is actually really nice for progression's sake. And you could usually get enough silver or gold even in between to get 1 or more ciphers. So with them starting sooner, I'm wondering how that's going to impact things without having the active critical engagement part, because people had to leave critical engagements before because it was too risky. You might miss the Fork Tower entrance. Because we only have 2 without 4, it's going to be interesting. But I think players just going to continue kind of banning CEs. We just need to know, they should really have said how much sooner, because right now it's about 30 minutes before Auroral Mirages appear. I'd assume this is going to make it 15 or 20, probably not 5 or 10, but you know, I wish they'd have just said how much in this. And further down the line, after additional deliberation discussion, we plan on expanding the system further with updates such as enabling exclusive access to the Occult Crescent instance for a set time when joining with a preformed alliance. That's wild to read. So effectively saying not only will those 48 people queue together, they will be the only ones allowed in. So there's no ability for snipers to happen. I'm a little mixed on that. I do think there's some tangible benefits to showing up with less than 48 people and kind of allowing a few people to, if they're curious and willing and actually want to put in the effort to actually join you inside of a Fork Tower. Maybe a toggleable setting for this, because there are plenty of groups that have just taken a random through and at least gotten them through the first couple bosses where things aren't so risky for the pre-made. And there are some groups that have taken someone all the way through who's just someone who's been an instance, never joined the Discord, but they hopped in and put in the effort. It can really work out sometimes. So I'm a bit mixed on that, but maybe they can decide whether or not they want to enable exclusive access. I don't think they're thinking that far in advance. I think they're really just thinking of supporting the pre-made system, which is really the main system for this difficulty of content, is the Discords that are making pre-made groups. We believe these combined changes will function in unison to improve the Fork Tower experience. Although I did just think about it. If there's anyone who ever wants to pug it and somehow they want to get people together in an instance, there's never a chance that like there will be a pre-made group already in their instance. So that does have a different... but most people won't do that. Anyway, We believe these combined changes will function in unison to improve the Fork Tower experience. However, given the outsized impact of one, even in isolation, we have chosen to prioritize its implementation. Furthermore, to alleviate the issue of players waiting for prolonged periods due to the time taken for an Aurora Mirage to generate, we'll be implementing 2 in advance as well. The remaining changes listed above will be implemented in 7.3 as previously discussed, along with minor adjustments and updates. Please accept my apologies for the delay. I mean, yeah, sure. I think the pre-made thing is actually probably the biggest thing to get in there, but I mean, it's good that they're doing it a little early. I will say they actually need to make a habit of doing this more. I think this should be an important lesson for them. If they feel they can get an implementation done before a patch, they really need to do it. This includes job changes. This includes feedback like this. It's been one of their weakest points forever, pretty much. We're always waiting for a major patch, and only rarely do we get major hotfix stuff. And they always come with these big, long posts, right? Sometimes we just need action to come sooner. And while this is, you know, it's not the first, it's certainly not the last time we'll think about it, they need to really consider getting their workflow to the point where they feel like they can do this consistently. Because I think that the entire community would feel better knowing, oh, I don't have to wait for next major patch or next in-between major patch or anything. The community really needs that assurance that a change that feels more needed comes sooner. Cosmic Exploration with the progression of the lower pop servers is definitely another point with that one. Risks associated with early implementation. At present, fundamental implementation for 7.3 is complete. We've entered adjustment and refinement for graphical elements, system, and battle mechanics. In parallel, we are proceeding with large-scale QA in preparation for release. To avoid significant impact on the schedule, we had initially planned to implement all of this in 7.3. However, when evaluating our development QA capacity to release a potential emergency maintenance update, it became apparent we would be able to do so with minimal effect to our schedule. Rest assured, there will be no impact on the release of 7.3 as a result of this advanced update. Good to have that. I wouldn't have expected it, but yeah, like I said before, they really need to see if this is something they can do consistently in the future for other pieces of feedback that feel more, just more urgent, I suppose. It should be noted that the planned emergency maintenance may introduce some technical issues, as expected with any maintenance. However, we determined the benefits of implementing these changes in a timely manner outweigh the minor risks involved, and we'll do our utmost to ensure the update is released in a stable state. They consider this important enough to do this on a Thursday. Look at that. Thursday, July 3rd, or as soon as possible. So they're not committing to that emergency maintenance date. That's currently when it's planned for, but don't be surprised if it doesn't make it quite for that time. But again, this is exactly what I see. Don't have to wait for a Tuesday. Don't have to wait for a major patch. Like, if you have a piece of feedback, if you really determine that the community is giving you something or giving you feedback about it, be willing to look and see if it can come sooner than the next major patch. Do that. We'll be on much better terms with a lot of topics within Final Fantasy XIV. And then it's just, you know, it may be pushed back should additional testing be required. We ask for your patience while we work on these improvements. Yeah. Good stuff. Glad to see it. But again, this isn't even about Forked Tower. To me, this is really about their willingness to do things off the major schedule. I hope everyone's takeaway is that more than anything else, because in isolation, while these are really important, I wouldn't say they're make or break changes. People have been doing it fine without this. It's just more annoying. And this will make it less annoying, which is great because it gives people more motivation to do it in the first place. And then this I didn't expect. Honestly, I personally don't care about this that much, but it is nice to know you don't have to wait 30 minutes after you enter to get in. Of course, a critical engagement can still extend that. Well, I'm sorry, will be able to extend that after the next patch, but not by more than a handful of minutes. And honestly, better extending it at the 15-minute mark to 20 minutes than the 30-minute mark to 35 minutes, plus the 5 minutes it takes to enter. So yeah, this is definitely way better. I want to make this post real quick. These are the kind of things we want to see, and I figured it would be worth sharing with you all. So, with that, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned. I've got some 14 mobile related stuff coming out soon. I've got some actual recommendations for things I'd like to see in the main retail Final Fantasy XIV to improve a little bit more playability in certain regards that feel like they've been kind of forgotten. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see all of you in the next one. And until then, take care.